So just like last week, holy shit. The two deaths in episode 10 after all was Zeke and Mecca, but the storyline with Zeke leaves a bit of an open end because Lorenzo was the one who killed him. Now the happy ending of the episode was Tasha reuniting with Yasmin, but it also confirmed that Effie did kill Lauren, but she made it look like she was killed in a car accident. But again, this has been left open-ended because no doubt if and when Tariq finds out in season 3, it's gonna cause some shit between him and Effie. But of course, the big story is the death of Zeke and Mecca, and taking down someone like Mecca was never gonna be easy because of the soldiers he has and because of who he was, an informant, and to be precise, Blanca Rodriguez's informant, something which I mentioned in my videos prior to this episode, which how much she's very much Cooper Saxe-like, and I do think we're gonna see that in season 3, where instead of chasing James St. Patrick, she's gonna be chasing his son, Tariq St. Patrick. So with that being said, let's get into this review and recap and dissect all things Power Book 2 Ghost Season 2 Episode 10. But let's kick things off with where this episode started, which was with Mecca explaining to Monet why he turned from Dante Spears into Mecca, which is completely lies of course. He turned into Mecca because he was an informant. But in this conversation, he told Monet that he agreed to kill Lorenzo, but Kane had to be the one to do it. Now meanwhile, Tariq woke up and he tried to get in touch with Lauren, but he couldn't. And Effie tried to convince him that she's sure he doesn't have anything to worry about. But this is the reason why Effie got rid of Lauren, because she wanted Tariq, because she's in love with him. But this scene also showed us that Tariq really trusts Effie, because he told her that if something happens to him, then she needs to find Yaz. And for him, Yaz is everything to Tariq, so you can tell, Tariq really trusts Effie. So let's follow Tariq's storyline because we need Tariq to be free from his case before we get to the plan involving killing Mecca. Now, Tariq got told that there was a new witness who was Trace Weston, and he knew this was bad news because he could connect the dots from season 1 episode 6 when Kane dragged Trace and Braden to Queens, and where Ramirez also picked them both up. But all of a sudden, Trace was ill, and instead of Trace, his brother Braden took the stand, and we all knew he wasn't gonna snitch because he knows the consequences if he does. But what he did was, he used his privileged background and his Western name to his advantage, and he blew up Jenny's case by saying that Tariq didn't kill Jabari or Ramirez and that he was behind course correct, and luckily he had the papers to prove it. Now if you're wondering how this is possible, in episode 3 Tariq signed everything over to Braden because Tariq needed to show legit income to take care of Yaz. So Jenny's case was dismissed, and Braden has now been pulled out of Stansfield and into his dad's hedge fund, so I do wonder how this will work in season 3 between the two characters. But in this conversation, Tariq did ask Braden about Lauren, and he said she drove off without him, but he knows what really happened. Effie was the one who killed Lauren and made it look like a suicide, and Cooper Saxe told Tariq after he found out from Jenny Sullivan after the case. And Saxe really does feel like they have blood on their hands with both Carrie and Lauren's death, and he had a choice to make. Does he fight for justice or does he fight for money? And it was made clear at the end, Saxe is going to be an inside man for Jenny Sullivan, and this is love talking. And with Saxe being a power OG, I really don't have a good feeling for him next season because we all know what happens to informants. But Tariq blames himself because everybody he cares about ends up dead or they're gone. But Effie tells him that he's got her, and she's going to be even closer to Tariq because it seems like she's going to be moving to Stansfield in season 3, and it's going to be interesting if Diana moves to Stansfield as well. But wrapping this up before we get to the Tejadas, Mecca, Zeke, and the whole plan, we saw Tasha returning. Now Tariq knows as long as he's in the game, and as long as he's connected in this life, Yaz will never be safe with him until he has money and power. And that's what Tariq wrote in his letter to Tasha. As soon as he achieves money and power, he'll be back with them. But he did the right thing in reuniting Tasha with Yasmin, and this was the happy ending that we saw in episode 10. But we all know this is not a finished story because Tommy will still be after Tasha, and Ray Ray even foreshadowed her death when he told Tariq in his nightmare that he's gonna get Tasha. But Tariq was also here watching Tasha reunite with Yaz, and this was a very interesting conversation with Saxe, because Tariq asked him if he knows someone called Dante Spears, and Saxe explained that he was this high-level informant, and he went after Lobos, the Jimenez cartel, and he was in danger, so he wasn't allowed back in the US. But without Dante Spears, the Eastern District would never have mounted an investigation into Ghost, and if they didn't do that, then who knows, maybe Angela would never have stepped foot into Truth, and Power would have been a completely different story, and a story which would have been different with Kanan, Tommy, and Tasha. And really, who knows what would have played out without the GOAT of global snitching. But now that's been wrapped up, let's talk about Monet's master plan, which resulted in Zeke's tragic death. So it started with Mecca telling Zeke that there was nothing left for him in New York, and there was a seat for him on his private jet tomorrow. but Zeke was still confused with Carrie's death, and he didn't trust Monet that she had nothing to do with it, because of course she did. And what this did was, it sent Zeke on his own mission to find out the truth himself. But while Zeke was doing this, Monet was putting her plan in place, which started with telling Kane that they were indeed going along with Mecca's plan, and they were going to kill Lorenzo, when in fact, she just wanted him to play along until the real plan was revealed. But when she told him that he needed to kill Lorenzo, his father, he called Monet's plan some crazy shit, because how could he kill his own father? But the way in which she convinced him was by telling him that Tariq killed his own father, and Kane is always one trying to be better than Tariq, because all he's ever wanted is Monet to see Kane the same way she sees Tariq. But Monet told Kane that he needs to speak to Tariq about killing his father. But before he did, Monet let Tariq in on the plan that she wanted to indeed kill Mecca, but she was fueled even more when she found out he was a snitch. Now Monet's plan was for Tariq to convince Kane to kill Lorenzo, but to follow the plan through long enough until she kills Mecca first, so she could save Lorenzo's life. But this is where Tariq told her that she can't kill Mecca until he wires him $2 million, because then he's done, he's out of the game, and I'm gonna come back to this later on in the video. So after this, we saw Monet going to Lorenzo and coming clean about everything, how Mecca is Dante Spears, and how he was the one who set up the shooting at the basketball court. And Lorenzo really does believe Monet, because she will do whatever it takes to save their kids. Now she told him how Mecca wants Lorenzo dead, and wants Kane to do it, but the key in this plan was into making Mecca believe that Kane will kill Lorenzo, but they needed to get Diana and Drew on board. But not only did he realize that McVeigh and Carlito were working for Mecca, but he also wanted to be the one to protect his family and be the one to kill Mecca, because he's the head of the Tejadas, and again, we'll come back to this in just a moment. But we also saw Tariq doing his bit with the plan when he convinced Kane that he needs to kill Lorenzo. He questioned Kane whether he was ready to do something like this, and he even told him, don't act like you know what you're doing, because you don't. And that's because Tariq knows what it takes, because he killed his father, and he also told Kane that he'll never be the same once he pulls that trigger. And ironically, Mecca told him that it has to be him, because Lorenzo will never see it coming from him, the same thing Kanan said to Tariq just before he killed Ghost. But Tariq's part of the plan was to use identical bags to confuse Mecca's men and to distract them because they needed to take them out, but the real bag will come back to him through Diana. So one fake bag went to Lorenzo and one fake bag went to Drew. So following Lorenzo first, Tariq and Kane went to the re-up location, and interestingly, Tariq had these suspicions on Kane having to do something with Lauren's death, and no doubt this is something which will continue into season 3. But focusing on the plan, Tariq was in position and so was Kane, until Tariq stopped him, and just look at the relief on Kane's face because he really didn't want to kill his pops. Now they were there to kill Mecca's men, which they all did. So McVeigh was dead, but Carlito, who is the leader of the BSKs after Lorenzo and Drew killed Kino, was on Drew, and I actually thought this was the moment where Ev would be caught in a crossfire, but he lives until season 3. But Carlito found nothing in the bag and was just about to shoot Drew until Kane showed up to help his brother, and they both fucked the BSKs up. Now they didn't show their deaths on screen, but Kane said put them in the trunk, and I'm sure they would have killed them off screen. So with Lorenzo, Diana, Drew, Kane done with their part of the plan, this is where we come to tie Zeke's story in, because while this was going on, Zeke was looking for answers for Carrie's death. First he was told it was a suicide, but then he was brought back into Whitman's office, where he showed Monet's photos from a traffic camera near Carrie's place. And although Zeke didn't snitch, he knew Monet was behind Carrie's death looking like a suicide, but he decided to jump on Dante's jet anyway. But back home, Lorenzo asked Diana what was in Dante's bag, and this fueled him into killing Mecca himself, because as I mentioned before, he believed it should be him putting the bullet in Mecca, but what he didn't know was, he was killing Zeke instead, and this is why it was such a tragic death. Lorenzo didn't mean to kill Zeke, he thought he was killing Mecca. But with Mecca's death, he changed the meeting from the hangar to his penthouse suite, and also making the call to someone to let them know his cover was blown. But before Tariq could get upstairs, Monet killed Mecca, telling Tariq that Mecca was gonna kill Tariq and Monet both. So Tariq is still gonna be in the game, and Mecca's dead. But who did he call? Blanca Rodriguez, and now she's gonna be all over Tariq St. Patrick in season 3, exactly the same way she was after Ghost in Power, which will no doubt come for death for some, prison for others, and a whole lot of chaos in season 3. But it doesn't finish here. Because of Dante's death being confirmed on the news to be in his penthouse suite, it dawned on Lorenzo that the person he killed wasn't Mecca, and Monet got the call from Detective Whitman that Zeke had been killed, and this is going to open up a whole can of worms because now it's Lorenzo's turn to hold the big Zeke secret. But elsewhere in the episode, we saw Rashad Tate taking Rick Sweeney's seat, but not just Rick Sweeney's seat, also making Kamal Tate the head of his security. And is this the start of influence, or will Tate remain on Ghost? Let's wait and see. Now, we also saw the story with Theo Rollins, where Sack said Theo is innocent and he's working on his release. Now, the actual person who committed the manslaughter was 4 inches taller than Theo, which happens to be Davis McLean. But Theo's sick, but will McLean push for his release anyway, putting himself at risk? I think so. We're just gonna have to wait until season 3 for this storyline to pick up. And that was the final episode for season 2, and there we have it, Mecca and Zeke are dead. But it leaves a lot of story to be told in season 3. Will Monet find out that Lorenzo killed Zeke? And will Blanca Rodriguez catch Tariq St. Patrick? Drop all your thoughts down below on the final episode of Ghost season 2. And of course, if you're new to the channel and you haven't done so already, then remember to smash the subscribe button if you want to see everything Power Book 2 Ghost and Power Universe related. But as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.